Hello, righty ho. Atomhenge have recently done a repress of the expanded CD edition of Hawkwind's PXR5 album from originally 1979, and this includes old bonus tracks and it's been remastered from the original tapes. Okay, all good stuff. Now back then, the end of the 70s was something of a turbulent time for Hawkwind, wasn't it? Things fell apart somewhat during a US tour. I think it was that 77, I think it was. And Dave Brock, you can't keep a good man down there, and he regrouped and reappeared under the name of Hawklords, and that wonderful 25 Years On album from 1978. Prior to that, what would become PXR5 was recorded between 77 and 78, and included some tracks which were recorded on the 77 tour, before of course seeing a release in 1979, which also marked the end of Hawkwind's tenure with Charisma Records. Now the tale is that the original 5,000 albums that were issued in 79 came with the marvellous Hawkwind family tree poster and the controversial cover art of a plug which was incorrectly and somewhat dangerously wired up. Now I had one of those 5,000 back in the day, and I can even recall that one of the newspapers, don't know which one, had an article about the album cover, and it's incorrectly wired up plug, it's all dangerous, blah blah blah, and all the rest of it. And I can remember cutting that article out of the paper and sellotaping it to the inner cover. Well, you did daft things back then, being a young gun. Anyway, there were measures taken to put a big sticker over subsequent issues of the vinyl to try and stop people from getting electrocuted if they decided to wire a plug up following the cover diagram. Anyway, back to the album. There is perhaps something of contractual obligation about it, though there's plenty on to recommend it, and to me at least it's certainly proper Hawkwind, and the late great Robert Calvert here is at his lyrical best for me. Death Trap is an urgent opener. It punches along at some pace, and it's got a bit of a raw raw edgy new wave thing going on. Jack of Shadows is sort of hooky quasi pop music, I think we can call that. Then we've got the superb Uncle Sam's on Mars, a typical Hawkwind spacey affair, and Calvert's biting lyrics, they really are. This is a live recording which just adds to the effect of it all. And I remember, and maybe you do too, that back in the day when Hawkwind performed this live, Calvert would meander all over the stage with a big Stars and Stripes flag. I remember that. Maybe you do too. Infinity is a little bit weird, and Life Form's just a short throwaway nothing. But on what was side 2 of the original vinyl, now for me this is a marvellous 3-punch combo of, in my opinion, some of Hawkwind's best stuff. First up, you've got the hypnotic robot with that never-ending riff, all sorts of spaciness, Simon King's thumping drumming, and all underpins Calvert's twist on the dronery of work and linking it to Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. Such a great song that is. And what next is just as good. High Rise, more lyrical genius from Calvert about the bleak dudgery of living in a block of high-rise flats, and there's some tremendous bass work on that song as well. And with both Robot and High Rise being recorded live, it just adds that something different. And then to close it out, the original album, we've got that powerful, catchy, typical Hawkwind space rock blast of the title track, PXR5. And then here on this expanded CD edition, we've got 8 bonus tracks which bring in various studio versions of some of the above, particularly the live tracks, and some other alternative takes and whatnot to make it a really rounded out, well packaged all good stuff indeed from I said that from a band that were undergoing some upheaval in the late 70s. But Captain Dave Brock sorted all that out once again and regrouped with a revised lineup, taking the band out on tour on what would become that Live 79 album. I went on that tour. Well, I was there, and of course that the risk of going out on tour without an album deal paid off, because they bagged a new deal on the back of that and gave us that fantastic Levitation album in 1980. And the rest, as they say, is history. They're still with us today. PXR5 stands up well almost 50 years later, especially Uncle Sam's on Mars, Robot and High Rise. And for my money, it's worth it for just those 3 tracks alone. But it's just classic stuff, really, isn't it? If you would like it, link in the description below, as always. And that's it for that one. Please do subscribe to the channel before you go, if you wouldn't mind, because that's always a big help and appreciated. And until next time, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and take care.